Education Scotland's guidelines for early reading are organised across three main areas. These are building a literacy-rich environment through interactions, experiences and spaces, developing skills for reading, and building independent and engaged readers. For each of the areas pictured, a suite of videos has been developed to support professional learning. The videos have been carefully developed to align with Scotland's Curriculum for Excellence guidance. Throughout the video, some technical terms are used to describe aspects of early reading. The QR code shown on the slide will allow you to access a glossary with brief explanations of some of the terms used. Each area has been broken down into 4 themes. There is a video which explores each theme, identifying key messages and signposting research which supports the guidance. This video focuses on developing phonemic awareness, as underlined on the slide. You may choose to watch this video in isolation, but it is recommended that the overall suite of videos is used to support a broader programme of professional learning. Phonemic awareness is key to reading development. Within this video, we will explore 2 key messages. Phonemic awareness supports the learner to decode by hearing and identifying the individual sounds in words. Phonemic awareness should be developed through noticing, thinking about, and playing with the individual sounds in spoken words and print. Phonemic awareness is one of the 5 components for the effective teaching of reading as identified by the National Reading Panel. The National Reading Panel, in the United States, carried out a review in 2000 of reading research. As the image on the slide shows, the 5 components are closely interconnected. The goal of early reading pedagogy is reading comprehension. If the child is insecure in one or more of these essential components or strands, then they may not be able to comprehend what they are reading. Therefore, as educators, we need to continually monitor and support young children's progress within all 5 components. The components oral reading fluency, vocabulary, and comprehension are explored in the video Considering the 5 Components of Reading, and phonics in the Implementation of Phonic Approaches video. We will now move on to considering the statement, phonemic awareness is key to reading development. Before we explore phonemic awareness, let's take some time to revisit the meaning of phonological awareness. Phonological awareness is an umbrella term for a wide set of skills, one of which is phonemic awareness. Phonological awareness is the ability to hear and manipulate or play with the spoken sounds within words and sentences. As discussed in the Developing Phonological Awareness video, phonological awareness typically begins with an initial awareness of larger segments of sound, such as whole words, syllables and rhyme. The phonological skills shown within the green boxes on the slide are explored in more depth in the video Developing Phonological Awareness. It is important to mention that children will grasp different aspects of phonological awareness at different times, and may need to revisit some areas as they learn to read. Keep in mind that every child is an individual. Some will be able to grasp an aspect of phonological awareness, such as rhyme, from an early age, whereas others may find this more challenging. Children will continue to develop phonological awareness throughout and beyond early level, and may not master an aspect before moving on to another. There may be gaps in a child's phonological awareness. However, we should consider this within the bigger picture of early reading skills, as we may be able to draw upon other strengths. In this video, we will explore phonemic awareness, as circled on the slide. As mentioned earlier, phonemic awareness is a sub-skill which sits under the umbrella of phonological awareness. We will now go on to explore the following key message in more detail. Phonemic awareness supports the learner to decode by hearing and identifying the individual sounds in words. Let's begin by exploring what we mean by the term phonemic awareness. Put Reading First is a document associated with the US National Reading Panel report that we refer to throughout our resources. It is a guide designed by teachers for teachers, which summarises what researchers have discovered about how to successfully teach children to read. Put Reading First provides this helpful definition. Phonemic awareness is defined as the ability to notice, think about, and work with the individual sounds in spoken words. In order to decode, learners need to break down words into sounds. Phonemic awareness is therefore key to the development of decoding skills. Phonemic awareness is the most complex level or subskill of phonological awareness because it involves identifying and manipulating individual sounds, also known as phonemes, in words. We will now go on to explore the progression of skills within phonemic awareness. This slide outlines a suggested progression within phonemic awareness, which is also outlined in Put Reading First. Children demonstrate phonemic awareness through tasks of increasing complexity. These range from isolating and identifying sounds. Cat begins with a k. Categorizing sounds. Cat and cot begin with the same sound. Blending sounds to form words. K, a, t. Cat. To the more advanced skills of segmenting words into sounds. Cat into the sounds k, a, t. And finally, manipulating sounds by adding, deleting, or substituting. An example of substitution is shown on the slide. Change the k in cat for a s to make sat. A significant number of studies indicate that phonemic awareness activities are more beneficial in supporting reading when accompanied by letters or words in print. The National Reading Panel found that phonemic awareness taught with letters helped readers at various stages acquire phonemic awareness better than instruction without letters. According to Bell, introducing written graphemes alongside phonemic activities provides a visual anchor for tasks that are abstract and rely heavily on working memory. There will be times when it is appropriate to introduce or draw attention to print. For example, where children are already familiar with the letters or they have been introduced as part of a phonics programme. However, there may be times where it is more appropriate to develop these skills orally. Breadmore et al. Explain how phonemic awareness is central to learning to read and spell words. If a word is unfamiliar, a learner will break or segment the word into letters or groups of letters. So, for example, fish will be broken into f, I, sh. The learner can then access the sound associated with each group of letters. In this case, f, I, sh, and blend these sounds or phonemes together to generate the pronunciation of the word. There is a reciprocal relationship between phonemic awareness and decoding words, meaning each one supports the other. In his book, David Kilpatrick explains, as phonic decoding skills develop, it appears to directly promote more advanced phonemic awareness. Advanced phoneme awareness is not a cause of early reading skills, rather it is a product of beginning reading. When learners interact with letters and sounds, via sound-letter knowledge and then phonic decoding, such experiences refine their phonemic awareness. This key message reminds us that phonemic awareness should be developed by providing opportunities for learners to notice, think about, and play with the individual sounds in spoken words and print. Development of phonemic awareness is likely to take place through both day-to-day exploration of words, as well as some more structured adult-led experiences. Phonemic awareness will be woven through the varied literacy experiences on offer. The next few slides outline teaching and learning ideas to support development of phonemic awareness, all of which are developed through explicit teacher modelling. The phonemic skills have been split into isolating, identifying and categorising sounds, blending and segmenting sounds, and finally manipulating sounds as described in Put Reading First. Let's take each of those in turn. Phoneme isolation involves learners recognising individual sounds in words. For example, an educator might say, "When I say the word fox, I can hear the first sound is f." Phoneme identification involves learners recognising the common sound in different words. the educator might go on to say, let's listen to these words, fox and fast. What is the same about these words? I can hear that fox and fast both start with the f sound. If a child is unable to identify or isolate sounds in a word, a precursory activity is to work on discriminating or noticing the difference between individual sounds. For example, the educator might say, listen to these sounds, f and s. Do they sound the same or different? As mentioned earlier in this video, introducing the written graphemes for sounds may be helpful for some children as a visual anchor. Phoneme categorization involves learners recognising the odd word out in a short sequence of words. The educator might say, let's listen carefully to these words. Fox, fast, bug. The odd one out is bug, because it doesn't begin with the f sound. Fox and fast both begin with the f sound, but bug begins with the b sound. Educators can model these skills, thinking and talking aloud as they support children to isolate, identify and categorise sounds and words. These words might be discussed when reading stories and texts. For example, in the book The Cat in the Hat by Dr. Seuss, where there are many examples of words with similar sounds. Where appropriate, we can introduce and expose children to sounds and their corresponding letters as they arise in text. Relating sounds to letters is, of course, at the heart of phonics instruction, which is the subject of the Implementing Phonic Approaches video. Blending and segmenting are opposing processes, meaning one is the reverse of the other. Blending is when children listen to a sequence of separately spoken phonemes, and then by blending the sounds together, they form a word. For example, f, o, g, frog. Segmenting is the reverse of blending. A word is broken into its individual sounds. For example, the word frog is segmented into f, o, g. You might begin by modelling blending words orally through daily interactions and instructions. For example, it's time to get your bag, or touch your toes. You might also model blending and segmenting words using props. For example, a puppet which can only talk in sounds to the children. The puppet might give directions or say children's names in sounds. For example, remember to tidy your l. Or can pick up his u. We should also provide opportunities for children to segment or chunk words into sounds. Using a bag of items, the educator might choose an item linked to a story or area of interest to a child and say, it's a duck, d-a-k. Can you split the word duck into sounds? D-a-k. Duck has 3 sounds. The educator could sound out words for the children to guess, or the children could pick out their own items and chunk or segment the words into sounds. These skills need to be explicitly taught, and as discussed earlier, some children may find letters a helpful visual anchor where they are familiar or known to them. Opportunities to develop oral blending and segmenting should continue as part of the systematic and explicit teaching of phonics. Phonemic manipulation involves deleting, adding, or substituting sounds to make new words. Phoneme deletion is when a child recognises the word which remains when a phoneme is removed. For example, say bin, bin. What word is bin without the b? In. Phoneme addition is when a new word is created by adding a new phoneme to an existing word. For example, say at. What word would you make if you add b to the at? Bat. Phoneme substitution is when one phoneme is substituted for another to make a new word. For example, the word is bug. Change the g to n. What's the new word? Bun. Phoneme substitution is often described as the most difficult phonemic manipulation skill, as it involves quite a few steps in which children need to hold sounds in their head. So when asked to substitute g for n in the word bug, the child needs to remember the sounds of g, n, and the word bug in order to generate the new word bun. If the children are already familiar with some initial sounds, you may wish to use letter cards or tiles to develop children's skills in phonemic manipulation. Some children may find it useful to have a visual anchor when manipulating phonemes, especially when substituting phonemes. An educator might use letter cards or placeholders such as counters to represent sounds. The educator could model adding, deleting, or substituting letters to make new words. For example, here is the word hot. Hot is made up of 3 sounds. O, t. O, t says hot. Let's now change the in hot for a p. The educator then swaps the card for a p card. The sounds are p, o, t. So the word now says hot. A video overview, glossary, signposted resources, and some reflective questions have been created to accompany this video. You can use the QR code on the screen to access these.